Okay, so today we are going to discuss about DNS. So DNS is domain name system. Okay, so what do you mean by domain name system? Please go on mute. So this is a domain. It's a my company name, Tungabhadra Networks, because I can easily remember the things. We are humans, we can easily remember the things, the keywords, names, and all. But every domain name need a public IP address, right? So this is my IP address. Do you remember this IP address? No, right? Which one is better to remember? IP address or domain name?
రెండు లక్షలతో నెలకి 20,000 తీసుకొస్తాం.
Domain name, bro.
Yeah, please go on mute, Bhaiya. If there is there is a background noise at your hand, please do not unmute it. Please type it. Okay.
2,400
So
కమెంట్ రా.
go on mute. Go on mute because the session is recorded and mute moment poor in the Bhaiya. Okay, fine. if it if it any background noise at your end, right? Please chart it here. Please answer it here. Okay. If it is clear, then only unmute it and answer. Okay. Because everyone will get disturbed. I will, so the class will not be disturbed, but the recorded session, right? People who want to listen again. So your voice also will be recorded. Okay. Fine. So yeah, which one is easy to remember? These domain names, right? So if you see, right, it is responding with the IP address. So we will only see, we will remember this. So it is mapping it. So IP address to the, sorry, domain name to the IP address to the domain name. Okay. We know the website only, but we don't know IP address, right? Initially, if you try to ping any domain name, if you try to ping any domain name, it's not you need an IP address. You can't remember the IP address. So what DNS will do, it resolves the domain name into IP address into domain name, the backend. The system cannot understand these keywords. It could be anything. I just created a company and this is my domain. Okay, you can also create a company, you can also create your own domain. You have to register your domain in any platform, and you need to purchase it, you need to host the website. If you want to host it, you need an IP address and you need a lot of server things and all. Okay, fine. For each domain, not only this Tungabhadra network, see ping www.google.com, it is also having IP address, right? So each domain is having an IP address. This is IP address of google.com. Clear? Right? Yep. So how exactly it will happen? See, I'm typing Tungabhadra networks dot in. The page is loading. So when you type www.tungabhadranetworks.in on your Google Chrome browser, what exactly is happening at the back end is very, very, very important. Okay. So what you need an IP address for your domain. Okay. Systems only understood zeros and ones. They cannot understand this. Okay. Listen carefully. After that, you can go through these steps step by step. Okay. Fine. I'm on my computer. I just type www.tungabhadranetworks.in. I would like to ask you a question. So what is the ports which is used by DNS? What is the DNS port numbers? Can you please tell me? Anyone?
53.
So
53.
is it TCP or UDP?
TCP. TCP.
Only TCP? It won't use any UDP?
UDP.
TCP మరి UDP.
So it use both actually. It use both. But when it will use UDP, when it will use TCP is very important. Please remember this. It uses both TCP as well as UDP. I'll tell you now. So when you type www.tungabhadranetworks.in, so it will check in your local cache. So here display DNS is a command. Okay, there is a command display DNS. There is a command, guys. There is a command display DNS. Let me find a command. So generally, you will have a cache. Cache in the sense memory. Okay, cache in the sense memory. So in your local computer, it will check the IP address for the respective domain name. Okay, you need a IP address to communicate it, right? That electronic devices cannot understand these keywords. They need an IP address, decimal number to binary number. It internally it will convert. Okay, so they need an IP address. So first, when you type www.tungabhadra networks on your computer, right? What it will check? It will check the IP address for the Tungabhadra networks.in. Where it will check? It will check in your computer. Okay, it will check in your computer. Okay, uh, command to check DNS. Okay, so how to check in Windows? I'll show you. So Windows are okay. NS lookup is a reverse lookup that I know. This is NS lookup I know, but it's not a NS lookup. I need a display DNS command. Okay. Let me show you. So in your computer, no, yeah, display DNS. So IP config, okay, space all. Here you need to type display DNS. Okay, display DNS. Mm. IP config, right? IP config, IP config all or what? IP config unrecognized command. अरे यार IP config. Is it IP config? Yes. Forward slash display DNS. This is the right command only. Display. Okay. I'm not sure. Let's ask.
Maybe run as a administrator, I thought so.
No, 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 it's not like that. Wait. Let's use ChatGPT for the command. There is a small space or some forward slash, guys. Okay. So let's open a new thing. DNS cache.
IP config forward
Space
slash
after IP config, sir.
We did the same
Space
thing.
after the
We did the same thing. So it's the same thing only, right? Uh, 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 unrecognized command. IP config all. Let's see. What is it? I'm entering somewhere else. Okay. CMD. IP config space all. It is showing display DNS. Yeah, now it is showing. See, so this we were in different prompt actually. See, this all are records. Whatever the website it right. So website in the sense you should not see the website. You will see the primary root server information where exactly the information is there. So root servers are the authoritative servers, whatever it is. Okay, whatever it is. This is a cache. Cache in the sense memory. Whatever the websites you're trying to access in your daily life, right? All the information will store in your local cache. Whatever it is, your computer, laptop, or your mobile phone also. In your mobile phone also, it will having the cache. Okay, so all the website and their IP addresses will be stored in your cache. So for, what will happen when you type www.tungabhadranetworks.in on your computer? It will check in your local cache. Do I have the IP address for the website or not? In case if it is doesn't have, okay, if it is having, right, if it is having, then quickly it will connect with the server. Destination IP address is some Tungabhadra networks IP address. Okay, Destination IP address is Tungabhadra network's IP address, and it will establish TCP connection directly. So it will establish a TCP connection, and it will start sending and receiving the data directly with the server. Okay, it resolves here itself the IP address, and it will directly establish a connection with the server with the by using TCP. Okay, in case if the IP address is not there, what it will do? It will generate a recursive query. Step one, it will generate a recursive query. To whom it will generate? It will generate to the your resolver. Who is your resolver? DNS resolver. If you give right, if you what are the things you need you need to assign okay, what are the things you need to assign to the computer? See, IPv4 address, subnet mask, gateway, as well as if you see right, DNS server. This DNS server could be your internet, whoever is providing your internet, right? Whoever is providing the internet, right? That guy maintains a DNS server. Okay, you can give that. Suppose lively, I can show you. I'm taking a broadband connection from one of the guy. Okay, so let me log in. This is my local Wi-Fi router. Okay, if you see the connection, right? So this is the DNS server which is maintained by the ISP. Okay, this is a DNS server. It is maintained by the ISP, and there are 13 Google DNS servers. So one of is 8888. For resolution, you can give anything. So this is primary DNS, and this is secondary DNS. Okay, what is this? This is primary DNS, this is secondary DNS. In case if the IP address is not available on your ISP DNS server, it will go to the root server. Let's check one by one how exactly it works. So you understood, right? You need IP address, gateway, subnet mask, primary DNS, and secondary DNS information is mandatory. If you want to access the websites, right, you need the IP address, right? Who will do that? The DNS resolver. So who maintains the DNS resolver? The ISPs. Okay, so your computer or your mobile phone will generate a query. Which query it will generate? Recursive query with UDP port number 53. So to find out the IP address for the respective domain name, it will generate a queries. For resolving that, it uses the UDP port. For queries, it uses UDP port. Now you have to tell. So when they will use UDP port number 53 for queries. Okay, for queries, you use UDP 53. Once it resolves the IP, it will establish a connection with the TCP. Okay, with the server, it will establish a connection with by using TCP port number 53. Clear? So it will generate a recursive query. Hey, I need to know the IP address of Tungabhadra networks.in. Please tell me. Hey, ISP DNS, please tell me the IP address of Tungabhadra networks.in. So DNS resolver. So not only you, right? Maybe some other guy already already try to access this website. So when so the DNS resolver maintains its own cache. So DNS resolver also maintain every ISP have the DNS resolver. Okay, whatever Airtel, Geo, BSNL, broadband connection, Act, whatever the ISP, they should maintain one DNS resolver server. Okay, so for the first time, no one knows. This is the first time I just created a website, so no one knows anything in this world. So for the first time, I'm trying to access this website. So the query will come to the DNS resolver, and DNS resolver check its own cache. Hey, do I have the IP address for this Tungabhadra networks.in? If it is having right, okay, I have the IP address. So what it will do, it will generate a non-recursive query. Hey, I have the IP address of Tungabhadra networks.in. Take this IP address. Here, the information will stores in records. That is called DNS records. So you will see the DNS records. Record A, and the PTR record. So if you need IPv4 address, it's A record. If it is IPv6 address, it is A record, and the PTR record is so domain name to IP address, right? The IP address to domain name. That information is maintained by the PTR record. Okay, so you will see POP3. There are a lot of records will maintained by the DNS. Okay, currently we are only concentrating on IP address, right? So the A record, IPv4 address is stored in A record. Okay, so the DNS resolver responded with the DNS non-recursive query with response. Okay, response is non-recursive query, and with a record the IP address is this. Once this computer receives this IP address, right, it will establish a connection with server by using TCP. Now, in case if this DNS resolver also does not know the IP address of Tungabhadra networks, what will happen? In this DNS resolver, you have to configure 13 root servers. Okay, 13 root servers will be configured on where? On this. So 13 root servers will be configured on here on your DNS resolver. Okay, that is called, one is 8.8.8, them some other things. Okay, so that those are Google root servers. Lot of root servers are there. So first it will check, hey, I need a IP address of Tungabhadra networks. First the DNS resolver will contact to the root server. Hey, you need to configure, right, 13 whatever you prioritize, right, it will go to the query. That query is called iterative query. It is also UDP 53. For all queries it uses UDP 53. Okay, this DNS resolver will generate iterative query. Please concentrate. So recursive query and non-recursive query, it is between computer and DNS resolver, your local, your computer and your ISP DNS. Oh, the iterative query is between DNS resolver and other servers. Okay, so DNS resolver will generate a iterative query. Okay, it will send to the root server. Root server check this. Hey, do I have, so you need IP address of Tungabhadra networks.in? Hey, I don't have this information. However, I know where it is having this IP address. So please check with the top level domain. Okay, it will give that information, top level domain information. It will give to the root DNS resolver. So DNS resolver, again, what it will do, it will generate a iterative query to the top level domain. So top level domain in the sense same thing, .com, .in, .edu, .net, so co.in. So this information will be there in top level domain server. Okay, everyone, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, bro.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay, yeah. So it will go to the top level domain server. So top level domain server also not maintain this IP address. Hey, it's .com, right? It's a .com something .com. So I don't have this information IP address of Tungabhadra networks.in, but I know where the server exactly resides. I know the server, Tungabhadra network server. I know where exactly it is there. So please go and ask it directly. Ask the server, he will give you the IP address. So it responds with the information of authoritative server. Okay, DNS resolver receives this and it will send a iterative query to the authoritative server. And now authoritative server is same Tungabhadra networks. It is Tungabhadra network servers only. So this server, what it will do, hey, you need my IP address? Okay, take it, just take it. So it will give this information, okay, to DNS resolver. Okay, it's just a iterative query only. So resolver responds with the non-recursive query to. So once DNS resolver receives this, right, it stores in its own cache, because next time if someone is asking, right, you no need to go all this root server, TLD server, authoritative server. Okay, suppose the Google is accessing millions of people. If the request will go to all the servers, it will be hang. So you will see 403 errors, right? The server is not responsive. So if the incoming requests are more and more, right, so server will cannot handle it. So that each and every internet service provider DNS resolvers maintain this, so that the resolution will happen here only, and the query, it will respond it with a non-recursive query, and the PCs will get an IP address. Once it gets the IP address, they will get a connection with the server by using TCP 53, and you can start exchanging your whatever you want to access, you can access it. This is a process. Understood, right? So first it will check in your local cache. If it is not there, it will generate a recursive query to the DNS resolver. If the DNS resolver having the IP address, it will respond it. Otherwise, it will ask to the root server. Root server doesn't have the information, it will give you the top level domain information, and top level domain will tell you to go authoritative server. This is having the correct IP address. So DNS resolver will learn the IP address and give it to the client. So it means computer. Once the computer receives it, it will establish a connection with the TCP. Ultimately, you need an IP address. So as I said, how many queries we have? Recursive query, non-recursive query, and iterative query. It is recursive, non-recursive queries between your computer and DNS resolver. And iterative query is between, this is iterative query. Iterative query is between, iterative query is between your local DNS resolver and other servers. So how many servers we have? How many servers we have? We have
13
D,
servers.
DNS resolver, top level domain server, and hello?
Authoritative DNS server.
Yes, authoritative DNS server. Okay, this is thing. Yeah, okay, cool now. So this is how it is. So let me open a packet capture and I will show you. Okay, whatever we have discussed, I would like to show you the packet capture. Okay. So we don't need to do lab because the server administrators can do this. You no need to learn this much also, but you should understand what exactly happening because all these servers are connected to our networking devices. So you need to know what query it is sending, what query we are receiving, right? So you should know this. See, it's a standard query. It is asking. If you see, right, it's a standard query. It uses which port? User datagram port, right? The source port is always random, as I said. The destination port is 53 because it's a query. So query, what is a query? It is asking. It is asking the IP address. Okay, in class A record class in. Okay, so some records. This is a class and the records. A record you will see. So this is all queries you will see. Okay, these are the standard queries you can see, and you will see the responses as well. You need to see the response message. Where is the response? Response is will be the bottom, I guess. All these are standard queries. See the response you will see at the bottom. See it is responded with IPv6 address AAA record, right? Right? It is responded with AAA record. Once it is responded, right? It is start sending a TCP. Okay, it's like that. Since SYNAC ACK TCP, I will give you. I will take a class for another. TCP is a big thing. I would like to explain with the real-time examples. Okay, just understand. It will establish a connection with the TCP. That's it. So that's the DNS. So any questions? So just go through the PPT. It's a simple topic, 30 minutes of topic only. So please read step by step is there here. Just go through it. Verify this how DNS works. This is important. Okay. Okay, how exactly it works, go through it, learn it, and packet capture also I showed here. Okay, and how many resolvers we have? DNS servers, these are all our DNS servers. Why we need DNS local DNS resolver server or recursive server or anything? So DNS maintains the server. Why? Because see, why it maintains the recursive servers maintained by the DNS recursive servers, you call recursive servers or DNS resolvers, whatever it is. Because if the request will go to the main server cannot handle that huge requests. So whoever is giving internet connection to you, that guy will have a recursive server, DNS resolver, you can say. So that guy will give you the IP address. For the first time only, he will request to the top level domain and other servers. Once he learn it, he will give it to the clients. Next time, whoever want to learn it, right, he will give it to them. Okay. The conclusion is the DNS is very friendly, easy to remember the domain names instead of remembering the IP addresses. Okay. So yeah, we are in our daily life, right? We are connecting with so many websites. Okay. Yeah. That's all for today. I don't want to dig into more. I want to teach you the product training, but we started late, right? 15 minutes of delay. So if I started explaining it, it will take 1 more hour. So I don't want to rush it. Okay, we'll learn things step by step only. Okay, please prepare yourself, read this, and prepare a proper definition. Okay, the step by step process in front of the mirror. Record your whatever the definition you are telling, right? Record this and listen to this. You will come to know where exactly you did a mistake. You can improvise yourself. I did like that. I did the same thing. Okay, so you can improvise like that so that if anyone asking you what is DNS at the packet level, you can, you can answer like this and he will flat. Okay. Yeah, that's all about DNS. If you have any queries, you can ask me now.